Vagarta viva sampraktau Vagarta pratipattaye Jagada pitaro vande Parvati parameshwaro Mukam karoti vachalam Pangham langayate girim Yatkripa tamaham vande Paramananda madhavam Sadashiva samarambham Shankaracharya madhyamam Asmadacharya paryantam Vande Guru Paramparam Vartaya pratibodhitam Bhagavata Narayanena Swayam Vyasena kratita Purana Munina Madhye Mahabharatam Advaita Mritavashini Bhagavati Mashtadashadhyayini Ambatvam Anusantatami Bhagavad Gite Bhavaddeshini Namostute Vyasa Vishala Buddhe Pullaranindayapatranitra Yena Tvaya Bharata Tailapurnaha Prajwalito Jnanamaya Pradipaha Prapanna Parijataya Totravetrai Kapanaye Jnanamudraya Krishnaya Gita Mritaduhe Namaha Sarvopanishado Gao Dokta Gopalanandana Varto Vatsa Sudhir Bhokta Dugdam Gita Mritam Mahate Vasudeva Sutam Devam Kamsa Chanuramardanam Devaki Paramanandam Krishnam Vande Jagadgurum Hari Om. So, we have seen 12 shlokas so far. I think we need to speed up a little bit. 42 shlokas are there. We are on the 4th day. And we just recited the 13th shloka, which we will recite and continue. Chatur varnyam maya srishtam gunakarma vibhagashaha tasya kartaram apima vidya kartaram avyayam. So beginning this shloka, because this chapter is Jnana Karma Sannyasa Yoga. So beginning this, he is getting into karma. Certain aspects of karma are starting from here. So this shloka is about the 4 varnas, Chatur Varnas, the most misunderstood idea, most misused idea also in our society, because it is a very, very grand concept, which I think other religious people are finding it very useful for them in a particular way. Our politicians are also using it in a particular way. All these are happening. So let us look at what is Krishna saying here first, then we'll look at the details. Maya Chatur Varnyam Srishtam. I created 4 varnas. He said, I created 4 varnas. Chatur Varnyam Maya Srishtam. Then he said, how did I create these 4 varnas? He said, Guna Karma Vibhagashaha. So he says, I have taken 2 parameters. One is called Guna, another is called Karma. And on the basis of it, I have created 4 varnas. That is what he is saying. Chatur Varnyam Maya Srishtam. Guna Karma Vibhagashaha. Tasya Kartaram Api. I am the doer of that. I am the one who did that. Tasya kartaram api mam vidhi, understand me to be not only the creator of this varna system, I am akartaram and avyayam. I am beyond all these ways of doing things and become vyaya, getting expanded. I am, indestructible. I cannot be expended, spent out. I will not, be spent out like that. This is my character, but I created these four varnas. This is what he is saying in this shloka. This is a very, very important idea, which, in fact, I do not know whether in any other society they were able to think through this. If you go to New York, you will find, wherever you go, you find the four varnas actually. Nobody articulated it properly and so well. So what is it? First of all, let me first remove all the misconceptions, then only we should know. First of all, the Chatur varna is different from jati. Jati is different from, there are so many, class, caste and all that. It's called varna. So varna means color. The nearest, definition is color. Varna is color, a shade of color. So, first of all, today we have completely misunderstood. Varna has nothing to do with our birth certificate or caste certificate. Somehow we have mixed up these two. So, what is this varna? You take an organization. Forget it. Society is the biggest organization you can think of. You first take an organization. in Bangalore, from which I have come. Right? If you take an organization, you need different kinds of people, first of all. If all the 400 people working in Bangalore say all of us will be CEOs, then finished. But such a thing will not even work. Correct? So in government parlance, if you look at Government of India jobs, there is something called class 4, class 3, class 2, class 1. They are also using only 4. Class 4, class 3, class 2, class 1, like that they say. Or they say group D, group D, group C, group B, group A, like that. The point I am trying to make, the first recognition of Varna is when you have to do something, if you have to do something worthwhile in an organization, in a society, whatever it is. If you have to do something worthwhile, you need people of different nature. You cannot, have, everybody similar. In fact, that's not even natural in the first place. It is not even natural. And even if it is natural, that's why God created this hand with 5 fingers of different size. If all the 5 fingers were of the same size, we could have done nothing. Grip, everything would have gone. Imagine all of the 5 are exactly 5 centimeter by 1.5 centimeter thickness. We would have wasted this. The whole creation would have been gone. So first of all, the idea of a Varna is a grand idea which says people come with different gunas. People come with different gunas. First of all, that is nature. Because guna is coming from what is called Prakriti. The Trigunas, in fact, the greatest contribution of Indian system is for psychology. The last 3-4 hours I taught it in my course in IIM Bangalore, only these Triguna system only I taught them in great detail. It is Indian psychology. The point is, today in computer, there is something called RGB, color palette. Red, what they have done today is, they have taken 3 colors, red, green and blue. And with a combination of the mix of these, they get color. This is exactly what our psychology says. Psychology says 3 attributes are enough to actually describe a person. You don't need more than 3. Computer is saying the same thing today. Computer is saying R, G and B, red, green and blue. I will mix it and I will get any color you want. If you go to color palette, you will find it. I hope many of you would have seen it. Right? So RGB, they call it as RGB. So Indian psychology said, each individual is separate. As much as each color shade is different. The number we say, one will be 256, 15 and 23, another is 256, 187 and 43, like that. So the Indian psychology said each one of us is unique. How do we understand this uniqueness? And Indian psychology said, because we are all unique, we will be in a particular way. That's why yesterday I said, all are same is a bad argument. All are unique is a very good argument. Each one of us is unique. Because that is the expression of Prakriti. So they said Sattva, Rajas and Tamas. There are three gunas. And with these three gunas, everything in the world, in fact this mic, Chetana, Achetana, sentient, insentient, this box has Trigunatmika. This mic is Trigunatmika. This board is Trigunatmika. If you ask me what this consists of, the Sattva is 0. The class of insentient, Achetana, Chit Shakti, illa idinalli. The class Sattva is 0. But the Tamas and Rajas in different proportions. This is the first thing they actually understood. They understood an individual is made up of guna. And that guna is explained by what is called Sattva, Rajas and Tamas. Then the second thing, chapter 14 of Bhagavad Gita is so wonderful. It has described all these in great detail. The second thing, even if you have so many colors, in fact, I showed it to my students in the class, otherwise they will not understand this. What I did, RGB, color, I have simply used computer palette to explain Triguna. The B, the numbers can be from 0 to 255. Depending upon that, the color will change. So what I did, the B, I kept the number between 210 to 250. So the B is very strong now, blue. Red and green, I kept on changing the numbers. I asked my students, what do you find? They said, sir, whatever you do, there is a shade of blue. Violet, in the violet also I see blue. In the so many shades of blue. Because that B is very high now. This is what Bhagavad Gita chapter 14 he says. I call it as law of guna dominance. While you have three, Sattva, Rajas and Tamas, in reality then you ask, are people infinite nature? People are not infinite nature. And that also they found that in many of these combinations, 4 broad patterns come. So what are these 4 broad patterns? One pattern is this set of people are extremely happy and good only in thinking and thinking. That's all they need. You give them money, they are not interested. You give them power position, they are not interested. Like that. They love to think, they love to create something new, love to share knowledge. This is one variety. Which means in the Sattva, Rajas, Tamas, there is one component which is actually pronounced. Then there is another set of people who want to lead. We need leaders. Of course we need leaders. We want leaders. Some people are inherently, their guna combination is such that they say, I want to, be seed. When something happens, there is only 2 person who comes to the front to solve the problem. In a situation, suppose something happened here, you will find only 2-3 of us will come and then volunteer and then sort it out, because that is what is kicking out of me. So this is another pattern which is there. There are some people who say, I will preserve the material part of it and then flourish it, which is very important for the society anyway. So their entire focus is how do I preserve these material aspects of Mother Earth in its all formats and make it gainfully useful in many ways and sustain it going forward. So for which you need a different kind of a predisposition of our talent and our mind and all that. Then a lot of people say, I want to only do seva. I want to be, I am very happy when I am able to exert myself. The more calories I burn by physical work, I am happy. People are like that. It has nothing to do with the birth certificate. See, today we have mixed one dimension with another dimension. Chatur Varnam, he said. Chatur Jati Maya Srishtam, he never said that. He said Chatur Varnam. He said, whatever you see, people will have this kind of tendencies. And that's why he said Guna Karma Vibhagasha. Then the second thing he said is, that is what modern people do in recruitment. What they do is, for a job, they say, what kind of skill I need. Moment they advertise for a position, they say, we expect the incumbent to have the following. So Guna and Karma must go together. Otherwise, it won't work. Guna and karma must be in alignment. Otherwise, I will destroy myself. What will happen? I will destroy myself. The Vyaktitva Vikasa will not happen. We will just destroy ourselves because it is not aligned. The nature is not aligned. So this is the very idea of this Chaturvarnya. Today people have taken it and then messed it up. Many people come and ask me, sir, what does it mean? And does it mean that there is a hierarchy in this order? Particularly in Vyavaharika, you need all these. In Paramarthika, all these are unimportant. This is required only for Vyavahara. When we have to organize a work, we need a leader, we need a thinker, we need a somebody who can take the finances and manage it, somebody who can do the job. In Paramarthika, this discussion, so they are now discussing it in Bhagavad Gita. Here the understanding is, our interest here is not these 4 classes. Our interest here is what are these gunas? That's why last 6 chapters in Bhagavad Gita is only about that. The entire last 6 chapters has elaborately discussed only about guna, how the guna will. So the question now we must ask is, what do we do about this guna? How can this guna be modified so that as a Vyakti I evolve? That has nothing to do with the profession I am doing. But this country has endless number of sadhus and saints who will map on the birth certificate in a particular dimension, but they will map on spirituality in a completely different dimension. We have to understand it very clearly. If you go to any temple in Tamil Nadu, Saivite temple, you will find 63 Nayanmars. They are gods. If you use your birth certificate, none of them are Brahmins actually. By going by today's calculation, they are nowhere there. If you use that lens is not to be used. All kinds of people, carpenters, cobblers, you name anything. Spiritual evolution has nothing to do with Vyavahara. 63 Nayanmars in the city of Chennai, last week of March, if you go, you will be stranded. Because 63 Nayanmars will come in 63 plankains. It's a 10-day festival in Kapalishwara temple in Chennai. That is the level we have taken. Spiritual evolution has nothing to do with Vyavahara. We should not actually map one into the other and get confused. 12 Alvars, go to any Vaishnava temple. 12 Alvars, just go and check their, background. They're great people. They have inspired, they will continue to inspire mankind for years to come. Go and see in Brihadaranyaka Upanishad. A set of Brahmins were told, go to Ajata Shatru. He will teach you Veda. First question Ajata Shatru asked, I am a Kshatriya, you are a Brahmin. Where you come here? But anyway, I think you don't know, I know, so I will teach you. That's what he says. So this bringing the caste into it, they have messed up the whole thing. Krishna did not bring it for that. Krishna brought it for a reason. And the reason is, he said, your karma and guna are connected with one another. This is the most important message we have to take from this shloka. Your karma and your guna are connected with each other. Throughout Bhagavad Gita, he has discussed it. I show one picture in which how all these are connected. I have collected it from every chapter, how this systematically comes and why Krishna is saying this. I will show you one figure, so you will get an idea of what it is. I have taken shlokas from all over Bhagavad Gita. There is 2 red lines. The red line looks like a black line here. Janma begins, Janma ends. I have put 2 Lakshman Rekhas. You see that? Because we should know what happens to us in every Janma. This is what Krishna wants to tell us. So let us see what is happening here. Krishna says, you come with a guna and a karma. You take birth with a certain guna and karma. How it comes, you will see. There is arrows connected. You will start from some starting point. I have come with some guna and karma. With my guna and karma, these 3 will happen. My Shraddha is a function of my guna. My Varna is a function of my guna and karma. And my Sampat, Daivi Sampat, Asuri Sampat, everything is related to guna. One full chapter is there. Okay? So first of all, what happens is, you bring something. It's like carrying a bag and then getting into this into the room, which is like one Janma. Then what does he say? He says, Urdhva Moolam Atha Shrakam, the second shloka, he says how we actually perform activities. And in chapter 5, 14 shloka, he says, Na kartritvam na karmani loke srijati prabhu, na karma palasangam svabhavastu vartate. You have free will. Yesterday we talked about free will. With free will, you can change your guna. If you change your guna, your karma will change. If your guna and karma will change, you go to the next level of your evolution. I'm not talking about the loka vyavahara. I'm talking about internal evolution. This sloka is meant for internal evolution. So you bring your free will, perform your activities. In chapter 6 of Bhagavad Gita, Arjuna asked, all that you taught me some yoga and all that, meditation and all that. I would have been better off enjoying this life. I neither got to siddhi nor I enjoyed this life. What will happen to me? Na kaschit kalyanakrit durgatim tata gacchati. Suchinam Shrimatam Gehe Yoga Prashto Vijayate. For 5 slokas, he says what will happen to you in the next Janma, depending upon what you do now. He says, Na kaschit kalyanakrit durgatim tata gacchati. Whatever little good investment you made will never go waste. He gives a guaranteed assurance. So that is the trajectory for our spiritual progress. That belief is very important for us. Otherwise, we will never be able to do good things in life. So that spiritual progress and the progress with a certain guna and karma and a certain kind of activities, using the free will to keep on changing what we want to do, tapas and all that we spoke yesterday, your vasanas and samskaras will change. This is what you carry to the next Janma. So in a balance sheet, we teach accounting. In the balance sheet, at the end of the year, we calculate everything and come with what is called retained earning. It may be positive or negative. You made profit or you made loss. That is carried into the balance sheet. From the profit and loss account, it goes to the balance sheet. So here, that is that item. That item is called vasanas and samskaras. This vasanas and samskaras is actually expressing as guna in the next Janma. This is the cycle. And because of that guna, whatever you do, you end with only that karma. Guna and karma, it is not that you choose guna and then you choose karma. The moment you have a particular guna, your karma will go towards that. Nobody on earth can stop. That's why these two are related. The karma will be very much related to your guna. So if you are that kind of a nature, if your nature keeps changing, your kind of work will also change. And that is the trajectory he wants to establish. He says people will have different things, but there is a trajectory with which we can keep on doing things in which you become, evolved internally. Outside you can do whatever job you want to do. Loka vyavahara is one thing. Paramarthika is another. So here we are talking about guna and karma. In Manusmriti, Manu is very strong. Manu uses, he uses Jati Matra Brahmana uses 4 times in the 2445 shloka. At that time itself he has said. He said if you are just a Brahmin by your caste certificate kind of a thing, he says it is like seeing a kind of example he gives. It is like having a wooden deer and thinking it is a deer. He comes very heavily on Brahmins in that Manusmriti. Why? Because he says by guna and karma, if you want to go there, all that has to change. It is not by simply, he says jati matra 4 times he has used it. Like that. So this discussion that Krishna is giving is not about our caste. It is about our evolution. Our evolution, which says the only hope for us to internally evolve, notwithstanding what we do in the outside world. The only way we can evolve inside is our sattva component must go up. The sattva, rajas, tamas combination must work in such a way that there must be a lot of sattva. Because there are only 2 key words for sattva. One is called happiness, another is called knowledge. These are the only 2 key words to describe sattva. He says that's what we all aspire in life finally. You want happiness and you want knowledge. So that is the point he wants to make here. And in so many shlokas he has connected them. He said in every janma when we come, inch by inch by inch we can change the complexion of guna. That is a free will. That's a choice we have to make. That's why he said Swabhavastu vartate. Na srijati prabhu. God is nowhere in the picture. Don't bring God into the equation. Swabhavastu vartate. Na kartrutvam na karmani loke na srijati prabhu. Na karma palasu. Swabhavastu vartate. Even your fruits of your effort, everything is yours. You invested, God is a faithful bookkeeping. He is a strict account keeper. That he will not change. And moment you have to come back, he will take the account and say, this is a retained earning. Start now. That's all is his job. The free will is with us. With this free will, we can change the guna. When we change the guna, the karma will change. We will gravitate only in line with our guna. That is what he wants us to think about. So he brings the importance of karma through the guna. In fact, that is what he is telling again and again, Arjuna. Arjuna, you may say whatever you want to say. You may say you want to fight the war and so on. You will come back. In 18th chapter, he again says, you will come back. You cannot go because your Swabhava and Guna are that you have to, in this frame of mind, you have to fight. You will naturally be gravitating towards that. That's why we have to touch the Guna. If you touch the Guna, the karma will change. If the Guna and the karma changes, the Guna is where the whole thing is. That composition as keeps on changing, Atma Vikasa will happen. The Vyaktitva Vikasa will happen. The personality will flower into perfection. That, for that reason, he says, understand this and go through this route. You will actually find your way, that your guna can be continuously evolved. Therefore, your karma will also, go along with that. And the karma here is not the karma that we do in day-to-day activities. It doesn't mean that. The karma means the accumulated samskaras and vasanas, which is actually taking us to a trajectory going further. That is the meaning of this word karma. The accumulated trajectory, the future path, is dependent on what kind of a mental predisposition you brought. And if you keep changing it, the kind of things that you do will also change. What you accumulate and then go further will also change. Name karma pala spruha iti mam yo bijanati vadyate. So he says, how do I do karma? He wants to tell, how do I do karma? That is the first thing that he wants to talk about. Okay. He says, karmani mam na limpanti. Whatever action I am engaged in, it does not, affect me in any ways. I stay from that. I stay away from that. It does not affect me. Namam karmani limpanti. Because, why is it happening? Because name karma palaspruha. There is no this great desire for me that I have to do this. That desire is not there. This situation requires a response that I will do that response. That is the pinnacle of karma yoga. Karma yoga is not on the basis of what we desire. What is in it for me? What can I benefit from this? How can I become more famous on that? Those are all outside the realm of karma yoga. If you take all of them out, there is no a personal desire to do karma. Karma becomes a very spontaneous activity. That's why he says, Name karma pale spruha. This spruha is not there. It is only a very natural, spontaneous response. A situation demands a certain appropriate response, that I will do it. That is what he actually means. 1 minute. Some people have switched on that. Okay. He says, Iti yo mam abhijanati. If somebody knows me like that, if they understood the crux of how to do karma by seeing how I approach karma, Iti yaha mam abhijanati, even that person will not be affected by these nuances of karma. Why is he saying it? Because what are vasanas, what are samskaras? They are coming out of our attachment to karma. Our attachment to the results, the raga, dvesha, ityadi, all these make up our personality at the end of the day. This is a deep psychology. If you approach your day-to-day activity, every moment that you do, if you approach with desire, what is in it for me and all that, you as a psychology, you as a personality will grow in a particular way. Because we will have dvesha, we will fight at somebody, we want to scheme something, we want to make somebody defeat somehow, we start working, so many things will start. That's why he says, if you keep all of them out, your guna will change. That is what he is coming to. So he is saying, Iti mam yaha abhijanati, that people who know this is the way karma has to be done, then the karma will not affect them at all. And karma will not affect them at all means what? It means I am not accumulating any more vasanas fresh. Existing vasanas and samskaras, I will have to clean it up. I will not accumulate new. We actually accumulate samskaras, we accumulate a lot of vasanas because we attach to many things when we engage in a work. I mean, it's very hard. It takes a very long journey to get detached. The next sloka, he talks about the detached even more. So what Krishna is saying is, when you are in the world, where in the society you have to do 100 things, from a vyavaharakya drishti, do it with detached attachment. I use the word detached attachment. It may look like an oxymoron, it may look like a contradicting word. I will explain what it is. Attachment means you have to be in the work. When you are in the samaja, we have to be in the work. The work requires my role, I have to do. Detached means I take the phala from that. This desire, I have to get this, I have to become famous, I have to become successful. That is where the whole thing starts. That is where the guna gets corrupted. That's where the guna morphs into a combination of sattva, rajas, tamas. So if we can practice this, where we will have a detached attachment to work, which means this work has to be done, I will do. In fact, next 4-5 shlokas so beautifully is going to bring it. There are 12 principles he is giving us. Practical step-by-step guide how to do karma. Because all these started with guna karma vibhagasha. It is our karma which will lead us to a certain samskaras and vasanas. The way we do a karma, not karma, the way we approach a karma will influence our samskaras and vasanas. That will shape our guna. And because of that, our varna will be like that, we will do a certain kind of thing. So we have to escape from this route. So the next 7-8 shlokas are all about how do you practically get here. That's where Krishna is coming. That's why he says, Namam karmani limpanti, name karma palaspura. 2 attributes. The work does not stick onto me. Or the effect, when he says work does not, karma here means the effect of work. Karma means what? The effect of work. The effect of work will not get attached to me. Why? Because name karma pale spriha. Karma pala spriha is not there. I don't have this deep desire for results. Results will come. I will take. Whatever results come, I will take. With folded hands, I will take. If somebody approaches like that, if somebody understands me like that, meaning if somebody understands this is how an avatara purusha actually engages in the world, let me also engage like that. He says, karma bir saha na badhyate. He will not be tied by this framework of karma. The karma will go away. See, it is very important for us to know, this is fundamental to our Sanatana Dharma. See, we all have what is called Sanchita Karma. Think about a big tank full of items which I have accumulated. It's called Sanchita Karma. Now, when a Janma is taken, it is like you can carry only one bag. So dip it into this container and take one bag worth of karma. That is called Prarabdha Karma. Prarabdha means what? Pra-arabdham. It has already started. That is a Sanskrit word. Arabdham means started. Prakrishena arabdham. Well, it has started. So in every Janma, we dip into this tank and take one bag. Now at the end of the Janma, some people bring back a holder. Because the karma is done in a particular way, vasanas accumulate, you accumulate a lot of karma. Krishna says, please go back with the empty bag. Then in 100 dipping, this will empty. So the birth, sukha, dukkha, birth, janma, samsara, all those will go. That is what it is. Agami, instead of eating away the sanchita karma, we carry a lot of agami karma. Agami means future. Imagine a situation, there is a tank of items which has to be exhausted. But you are given only a bag. At a time, you can take only one bag. Think like this. Imagine a situation, you took one bag of that, went out, instead of emptying it, brought 10 bags back. So this tank will become bigger. That is why Krishna is saying, don't do that. Otherwise, your mrityu, janma, mrityu, jara, vyadi, you will keep on going in that. How do you escape out of it? Is the first principle. Detached mode of karma. Detached mode of action. Your vasanas will start changing. That's what he is saying. So this detachment is a great indicator of evolution. You don't have to go all around. Take one coconut and keep it in your house. After 3 months, it will become kata kata kata. It gets detached. Detachment is an expression of evolution. Coconut, after the water is dried, it becomes copra. Copra gets completely detached from the shell. Nature is teaching us. Learn to be detached in life. What is Mahamrityunjaya mantra? Trayambakam yajamahe sugandhim pushtivardhanam urvarukamiva bandhanat mrityormukshiyamamritaat. He says, urvarukamiva. See, cucumber. Urvarukam is cucumber. See, when the cucumber, when it is in the plant, when it is fully ripe, that, it is like this, no? It is broken. It is come out of it, but you will not see. If you take it, it will come freely. Or you need a magnifying glass to see that it has broken. It will look as though it is part of it. The Mrityunjaya mantra says, keep me like that in this world. Trayambakam yajamehe, Nashik. Trayambakam yajamehe, Sugandhim pushtivardhanam. What do you want to ask? Urvarukamiva, like that cucumber fruit. Urvarukamiva, bandhanat mrityoha mukshiya. Take me out of this bandha and this death, all this death. Ma amritat, not from amritatva. Take me from mortality and all these connections. That connections will go only when we do work like this. If you start saying my fame, my, and all that, Krishna will say, because he said, Ye etam mam prapadyante tam stateva bhajamyam. What you want, I will give. I am only an account keeper. That's why he says detachment is very, very important. Because it builds inner strength. That is an indication of evolution. Aparigraha is a great indication of evolution. That's what Mahatma Gandhi, practiced in a very big way. Evam jnatva kritam karma purvairapi mumukshubhihi kuru karmaiva tasmat tvam purvai purvataram kritam. Hey Arjuna, please do work like this. Kuru karma eva tasmat. Please approach your work like this. He is pleading to Arjuna. Kuru karma eva tasmat tvam. How? Purvaihi. Our ancestors have shown us how to do. Purvaihi purvataram. Whatever they have demonstrated, why don't you do work like that? Don't attach too much into it. If you do like that, because he says, evam jnatva, having understood this secret, the way you do work depends on how many janmas we are going to take from now on. That's what Krishna is saying. The way you approach work is, that's why the karma is very, very important. Evam jnatva kritam karma purvaihi api, and what kind of people? Mumukshubihi. Mumukshu is the desire to liberate. Moksha ichaye yesham asti te mumukshuhu. Yesham mokshasya icha bhavati te mumukshuhu. Those who want to say, I am tired of this birth and death. I am simply tired of this birth and death. They are called mumukshus. The mumukshus actually understood it. Oh, this is the way to do work. I have to develop a sense of detachment. My samskaras will start changing. My samskaras start changing, my guna will change. So the karma in the next cycle will also change. So that is how I will actually develop myself. That is what Krishna is saying. Kuru karma eva karma kuru tasmat. Therefore, you should also approach whatever work you do, approach with this sense that you can do, because that is how our ancestors have done. They have shown us how to, not get stuck with this kind of a thing that is happening. That's what Krishna is saying. So, Chaturvarnyam Arabhya, up to this shloka 13, 14, 15, he is making a very, very important point. Your guna is a function of your karma. Karma is a function. They are all related to one another. Now, what can you change? You can change only the guna. You can't change anything. Others will automatically change. This is like there are so many connections. When you change one dial, it will automatically change the other. So the dial is in guna. It is not in karma. Dial is in guna. You don't change the dial. And how to change the dial in guna? That's what he's saying. If you approach work with a sense of detachment, your guna will change. Completely it will change. Do small experiments, you will find it. Very small experiments. I ask my students to do such experiments for 1 week. They come and write so beautifully and give me what transformation they went through, even when they tried something very simple. I tell them for 1 week, it's an exercise I give in my course. 1 week, you have to do something which no way benefits you. What is in it for me should never be there. And you have to report what happened to you. Some people write astonishing things and give it to me. 2000 words they have to write. They say what a powerful idea they are saying. So we have to do small experiments of many of these concepts. One little small step is a giant leap in faith. See, all these things are not knowledge. They are anubhuti. They have value only when it becomes anubhuti. So we have to make that small little experiment. You'll suddenly find something different happening to you. Then you will go on. So we need to try all these in that particular fashion. From here, he completely talks about this karma. He says, therefore, this karma is very important, and how to do karma is the crux of evolving in life. So for that, he comes with several shlokas, 5-6 shlokas. We will see those shlokas. They are very, very important shlokas. Kim karma kima karmeti kavayopyatra mohitaha tatte karma pravakshyami yajñātva mokṣyase shubhat. Kim karma, kim akarma iti kavayaha api atra mohitaha. That is the first line. Kavi is a learned person of the highest order. That is the correct definition of Kavi. Kavi is a very man of huge wisdom. Now he says, Kavihi api atra mohitaha. They themselves are confused. Even people with a good sense of wisdom, with a good sense of worldly wisdom and learned people, even them, for them, kim karma, kim akarma. What is karma? Means that which takes you with less accumulation of the karma. And kim akarma, that by doing, you brought a bag and took back a whole dog. That is akarma. Doing wrong things which will only accumulate. Sanchita karma will only become too much. Correct? That is the karma and the akarma. So what is karma and what is akarma? Even learned people are very, very confused. It's not easy. It is very sukshma. Krishna is saying, Kavayaha api atra mohitaha tataha te karmaha pravakshyami. So I will now give you a little clarification. Because this is not easy. It's a little bit confusing. Therefore, I will give you some clarification. Tatte pravakshyami yat jnatva, having developed some understanding of it, means develop clarity of it in your mind. See, if you don't get convinced in the mind, nothing is going to happen. And if it is convinced in the mind, nothing else is required. But one favorite example, which I keep hearing Pravachana's, many ideas I get, because they are very interesting. One Pravachaka was saying that when the boy is married to the girl, the thread is tied. The next moment, this boy says, thinks she is the wife. The next moment, the girl thinks they didn't do any meditation, nothing. It's the acceptance of the mind. It's all, there is no big meditation, 100-hour meditation to come to a conclusion. Finally, so-and-so is my wife or so-and-so is. It is instantaneous. And why is it instantaneous? Acceptance of the mind. Our mind has to accept. So when he says yat jnatva, what it means is get that acceptance in your mind. This concept must be accepted in your mind. Yat jnatva mokṣyase. You will get liberated from what? Ashubhat. In the sandhi, that avagraha has come. Akara is there. Mokṣyase ashubhat. All these bad things that are happening to you, by wrong things that we are doing, you'll come out of it. Because you got the right framework now. You understood the right framework of how do I spend time. Because please understand, from the time we are born until we drop this body, the way we deal with the karma will get accumulated. It can be good karma, it can be bad karma, it can be no karma. There are possibilities. Good karma, bad karma, and no karma. Many people think good karma is good. Good karma is not good. It is like saying, do you want a chain with steel or chain with gold? A chain is a chain, finally. Good karma, people think good karma is good. Adi Shankara has done enormous in his Bhashya. He says, if you have good karma, you have to again take birth to make use of it. You have to see, liberation happens only when your account is zero. You should neither be negative balance nor be positive balance. That is the idea. So good karma is no good. No karma is good. No karma is good. Good karma is slightly better than bad karma. If you have a lot of good karma, it is like holiday timeshare. Once in a year you can go to a resort and spend 3 days. Because in chapter 9, there is a 20th and 21st sloka where he is saying this. Shine punya mriti lokam. So you go and enjoy your good karma in Devaloka, come back here. You have to come here. Liberation happens only here. Only here. And liberation happens by, this is the game God is playing to himself or herself. He is playing with Maya in front of it. So, good karma is as bad as bad karma. No karma is far better than good karma and bad karma. So, how do you get no karma? He is giving ideas. That's why he is saying these are all very deep. So, therefore, I will tell you, by knowing it, the chances of you taking the bag and bringing an empty bag is better. In fact, there are much more tatparya in it. If you go deep into it, this is a very vast subject because this is fundamental to Sanatana Dharma. Karma and Vasana and Samskara is fundamental to Sanatana Dharma. There are many, for example, people like Ramana Maharishi and if you do a Videha Mukti, what happens is it will actually burn off all the supply in the tank. It will burn off all the supply in the tank. It's the example they give is, if you take a seed and heat it, it will not germinate any further. If you boil a seed, put it in a hot this thing and then completely roast it into dark brown, it will never sprout. So the Videha Mukti is known in which the tank is all fried into dark brown seeds. They will never sprout. One shot, they will finish everything. Whatever prarabdha they brought, that you have to expend. Prarabdha is like leaving if you leave an arrow from a bow, you cannot catch it. It will go to the target. The intended target, it has to reach. So in a Janma, what the bag that I brought, until you empty it, you cannot escape from this place. Not a second more you can live, not a second early you can live. It's not possible. That's why even Jivan Mukta, that's why Ramana Maharishi had sarcomas. Because that came with the bag, that has to be finished. But the only thing is no Janma after that. Because all others are roasted brown. It will not sprout anymore. So these kinds of principles are there. So he says that is why this karma is a very, very important thing. We need to understand this deep implication of karma, not only as a philosophical thought, it is the way we live, the way we are going to go forward is a function of the karma. So he is going to give some very nice ideas of how do we actually deal with every minute that we spend here before we drop our body. That's where he is coming to. Karmano hyapi bodhavyam bodhavyam cha vikarmanah akarmanascha bodhavyam gahana karmano gatihi. Karmanasya gatihi gahana. Gahana is deep. Arjuna, this concept of karma is very, very deep. Gahana karmano gatihi. The trajectory of karma is so deep. That's what Krishna is saying. Gahana karmano gatihi. And you should know, I told all the three. Karma, akarma and no karma. That's what he is saying here. He says, karmano hyapi bodhavyam means there are certain things that you do, your bag will start accumulating. They are all, whereas vikarmana 100%. See, if you take the whole thing has different divisions. For example, you have nitya karma, naimittika karma, prayashita karma, nisheda karma, like this. Whatever we do, you can put it under these four. Nitya karma means every one of us are supposed to do a few things every day. We are supposed to do a few things. We have to pray, you have to do, pancha bhuta yajna, whatever. There are things which are, that all these are dharma. These are all only ways by which you can sustain the world. That's why they have brought all these. Nitya karma. Then naimittika karma. There are certain karmas which are naimittika. If I have a daughter, I have to get her married. If I have in a company and that role requires something on a particular time, I have to do it. These are naimittika karmas. The difference between nitya karma and naimittika karma is naimittika karma may not come on a cyclic. I don't get my daughter married every 1 year. It cannot possible, right? Nitya karma can come. Nitya karma doesn't mean daily also. A Shraddha Karya is a Nitya karma. It comes once in a year. Ancestors, no? So, Nitya karma means that which happens in regular cycles. Naimittika karma means things which the situation demands, you are supposed to do it by virtue of a position and the responsibility that you hold. That is called naimittika karma. Then there are nisheda karmas. We end up doing things which you ought not to be doing. Completely wrong things which we should not do. That the bag will grow very fast if you do nisheda karma. So if you do nisheda karma, sometimes, without knowing, we may do. I'll give you one example. When you walk, Jains, that's why they do all that. When you walk, I don't know how many living organisms we kill every day. It happens. When you walk on the path, I don't know how many living beings you kill. It is impossible for you to know. That is called nisheda. It's a nisheda karma. You cannot kill. Ahimsa, paramo dharma. We cannot kill. So what do we do now? So there is something called prayashchita. These ladies, after cooking, they're putting a little bit of whatever they cook outside, this is a prayashchita for that. These things which we don't know, unwittingly we have killed so many, jiva rashi. The prayashchita for that in Dharma Shastra is whatever you cook, you offer it. That is why it is done. So like that, these karmas are all there are so many divisions. I just gave one. So Krishna uses the word karma. You should know what is karma. You should know what is vikarma. Vikarma is all nisheda. Nisheda karmas, which will only add to your bag even at a greater speed. And then akarmana, right? Abstaining from action. There are so many complications like this. You should know all that. So instead of explaining this directly, he explains ways by which if we do, we will stay clear from all these complications. See, there are two ways. Either you end up explaining all this. And already I said these are all very complicated. So by explaining, I can only make it even more complicated. Another method is to say, no sir, don't explain all this. You are saying already anyway it is complicated. Just tell me what I should do so that this part is taken care. There is another method. No? Don't get into all these complications. You are all educated people, you do that. But at least tell us. These 3-4 things, if you say this is how we should do, and by that you guarantee, don't worry about all these. Krishna took that approach. So he said, I will now tell you how should you approach work so that all these issues you don't get complicated yourself with that. So he gave some nice ideas. Some 4-5 shlokas are there. Very nicely he talks about it. We'll see that they are all very nice. Karman yakarmaya pashyet akarmani cha karmaya sabuddhiman manusyeshu sayukta krishna karma krita. Karmani akarmaha yaha pashyet akarmani cha karmaya. It's a tongue twister. Okay. Karmani akarmaha yaha pashyet. In action, you have to see inaction. Something like that. In inaction, you have to see action. This is a clear tongue twister. If you know, if somebody knows, Saha Buddhiman, Manusheshu Buddhiman, amongst the Manushyas, that man is really Buddhiman. Who? One who knows this. One who knows how to see action in inaction and inaction in action. Let's see what it is later, but we'll first get the meaning of it. Saha Yukta. He is one who is Yukta. Again, it comes from yoga. Yuk. Yuk is you are synchronously connected with the ultimate reality. That's the meaning. Yukta. You are composed. You are rhythmic with nature. That all these meanings we can take for yoga and all that. Yukta. Saha Yukta. That man is indeed Buddhiman. He is Yukta. Then he says Krishna. Krishna man means idi karmagalo. Idi in the helkarala Kannada. Krishna is everything. Krishna karma krit. He is like having achieved any kind of karma he knows how to do. He is a master of doing any karma now. Guys, he understood the nuance of how to do karma. Karmani akarmaha yaha pashyet. Akarmani cha karma yaha. Sabuddhiman manushyeshu. He is indeed a wise man amongst people. He is a very composed person. Yuktaha. Krishna karma krit. He is said to have achieved everything possible that can be achieved, which means he will escape the clutches of this karma and samskara route. That is the meaning there. He is escaping himself from this spiral. You do some work and then your bag becomes bigger. So you buy one more bag. Then it becomes even bigger. You buy a whole doll and then at the end of the janma you carry so much and go. From that he has escaped. That is another meaning to the whole thing. Now the question is, what is this karmani akarma? We will take one at a time. How do you see inaction in action? Karmani akarmaha yaha pashyet. Oh, these are all very profound concepts, not only from Vedanta, from Vyavahara also. See, there are two types of people in the world, broadly. One type of people who keep all the time saying, I am busy. Actually, I know such people don't do much work. Bear with me for saying it. People who quite often say, I am busy, I have seen it. Hundreds of people I have seen. When people say, I am very busy, generally my reading is these fellows don't do much work. People who do a lot of work have never complained, I don't have time. They have never said, I am busy. See, I had a professor, when I was doing my PhD, I was stunned by seeing him. Because every day I used to ask myself, does he have 24 hours or 48 hours every day? Because I thought I have 24 hours, he must be having 48 hours. Because that much evil, particularly he was very close to me. I was a student, but he was very close to me. So he was a bachelor, he was very close to me. So he'll come and say, Mahadevan, I went this last weekend, these are all the things I did. I'll take him to my mess and we'll have food together and then he'll come to my room and chat. That time he has said. Every time he'll ask, where did he find time? So much he is doing. Where did he find time? This is number one. People who say, I am very tired of doing work, actually do less work. This is a second rule. When people say, I am very tired of, I have done so much work, I am tired, generally they do less work. But there is a reason why they get tired also. Krishna also has said it. People who go after results, performance, name, fame will get tired very fast. Simple rule. If you go after all these, you will get tired very fast. That's another reason. So, karmani akarmaha yaha pashyet, Krishna says that you should learn the art of doing a lot, but as though you have not done anything. In action, you should see inaction. Nothing, as though nothing has happened. In Ashtavakra Gita, there is a beautiful shloka. I'll bring that shloka. Pravrittirapi mudasya nivritti phalabhagini. There is a nice shloka. Get that shloka, you will understand it. So all that I am saying is work done with what is in it for me in whatever format will tire you very soon. That's why in chapter 3 itself, Krishna said in the 9th shloka, Yajnartam loke karma, lokan anyatra karma bandhan. That's what he said. Tadartam karma kaunteya mukta sangha samachara. Mukta sangha samachara, again and again he will say. Next shloka he is going to say. If you get too much attached to what you do, you can only get tired. You will achieve very little in life. Is what Krishna is saying. I'm not saying. Krishna is saying you will achieve very little in life. You will get tired very fast. You will go to the rooftop and say, I am very busy. Right? So, work done with what is in it for me will make us very tired. Such people will not be able to see inaction in action. They will see little action and enormous tiredness, as though they have done a lot of action. That's what this Ashtavakra Gita is saying. Look at this, a beautiful sloka. Look at what it is saying. It is saying, Nivrittirapi moodasya pravrittihi upajayate pravrittirapi dhirasya nivritti palabhagini. For a Muda, he'll be always taking rest, but he'll say, I'm tired, as though he has done a lot of work. That's what it is saying. Nivritti, he is in Nivritti. He is not doing anything. He is just, there is on couch. He is sitting and then watching the TV, and then he says, I'm very tired. Nivrittirapi mudasya pravrittihi upajayate. That becomes big work for him, as though he has done a lot of work. Okay? Whereas pravrittirapi dhirasya, for a dhira, dhira is one who uses his dhi very well. Dhi means buddhi. The person who has a sense of discrimination in life, nitya anitya vastu vichara, is called viveka. A person who has a sense of viveka, for him, pravrittihi nivritti palabhagini. That's what my professor was. He'll come and say 100 things. I was wondering how the only way he would have done it. He is never tired. Very energetic. He is a great man. He achieved a lot of things. I have a lot of inspiration from him. What I am saying, that is what is action in inaction. Inaction in action. When you are in action, it should be as though there is no action. It should be complete inaction. That will come only when you approach karma without a phala. And what is the added advantage? Your samskaras will not get added now. That is what will happen now. What is in it for you? If you take it out, your guna will start changing. It is all related to that again. Your samskara will change because you are not now axe. There is no axe to grind. We say in English, no axe to grind. So we have no axe to grind now. We will do what needs to be done. This situation demands this response. We will do it. We enjoy doing it. Some phala is given, Bhagavad Prasada. I will take it, move on in life. We will become very light. No need to take even a medical insurance, I think. That is what will happen. Otherwise, it will be only medical insurance. 4 lakhs, you have to make it 6 lakhs. Costs are going up. So that is what is inaction in action. Now, this action in inaction is much deeper. And the best example is, see, there is a fan running, there is a light glowing. Actually, there is electricity behind it. The electricity is not running. The fan is running. But the electricity is running, so to speak. It is the electricity which is running the fan, no? Right? The train is running. It is not even the engine running. It is some, electricity which is generated out of some diesel, or it is the electricity that is running the engine. So we have to develop that deep sense of sukshma when we do karma. On the surface, you see something, you should not, understand that is what it is. There is a sukshma to it. Even when you see inaction, there is action behind it. Electricity on the face of it is inaction, but electricity is moving the world now. The world is moved by electricity. You and I are able to sit, talk to each other, record this, propagate this through this PA system, have a comfortable light and a little bit of fan for everything happens with something which you can't even see. That is what Krishna is saying. When you do karma, you have to have that sense of discrimination. Don't look at only the surface. Understand the depth of what it is. So seeing action in inaction means develop a frame of mind in which you look for sukshma. Don't stop with stula. Look for sukshma. Then the nature of the work you do will change. Your approach to work will change because you are now looking for sukshma padartha. What is in it for me is very stula. If you go a little deeper, the what is in it for me will evaporate. You have to see the sukshma. If a person who knows how to see sukshma is a person who sees action in inaction. The sukshma is not in action on the face of it, but he will see it. What appeared to be inaction is actually driving the whole. So your approach to karma, your approach to work How do you accumulate karma? All that get into sukshma. Don't stay at stula and then say I will get something, I'll get the benefit for tomorrow, day after tomorrow. We are very stula in our approach to work. We think today afternoon I need some help, then I will scratch your back. Tomorrow morning I will scratch somebody else's back. We are very, very momentary people. This is a Western influence. If we understand karma, we'll go very, very deep. We'll get into sukshma of work. Our time frame will be very, very large. We will not worry about what is happening tomorrow, day after tomorrow. The quality of work will change. The guna will change, the karma will change. All of them will link to that again. That's what Krishna is saying here. It is about understanding the sukshma tattva in everything that we do. As I told, train runs, but not the diesel. But actually the diesel is making the train run. These are all, very, very sukshma. In other words, what is Krishna saying? Understand the Purusha and the Prakriti. The Sukshma is Purusha. The Stula is Prakriti. There is a Mundaka Upanishad. In Mundaka Upanishad, the 3rd chapter starts with a beautiful shloka. The shloka says, Dvau Suparna, Samanam Vriksham Parishasva Jate. There are 2 birds. This is how Mundaka Upanishad explains this Purusha and Prakriti. They say there are 2 birds. 2 birds are sitting in a tree. What happened was, one bird just simply sat. Another bird started eating the fruit. There were some fruits in the tree. One bird was sitting. The other bird started eating. So the Mundaka Upanishad says, it was a matter of time. The moment the other bird started eating the fruit, some fruits were sour, some fruits were sweet, some fruits were so bad in taste. So the other bird was just watching it. This bird's face was changing all the time, whereas this bird was sitting and then calmly watching. That is the inactive part is our Purusha. The active part is Prakriti. We have to see the action in the inaction. You should not just stop here. You should understand the Purusha before you use your Prakriti. Guna is part of Prakriti. If you bring the Purusha, the Prakriti will change. The Guna will change. So that's why he is saying that learn to, whenever we approach everything that we do in life, look for sukshma. Understand that somebody asked about kartrutva and bhoktritva. It is actually the Purusha who is actually the bhoktritva, is the kartrutva agency is with them. But then if you transfer into the Prakriti, then we have lost control on the whole process. That is what Krishna is bringing through these 2, saying karmani akarmaha yaha pashet, akarmani cha karmayaha. Sabuddhiman manusheshu Krishna karma krit. If we develop that sense of wisdom and approach our world of what we do from morning to evening, then this bag will not accumulate. If the bag does not accumulate, the samskara will change. Samskara changes, the guna will change. The next cycle is a better cycle. That's what it really comes to. Then Krishna says, I will now give you 12 how to do principles. Beautifully 12 principles are there. 4 shlokas, I will one shot go through it. Then we'll come back. Tyaktva karma pala sangam nityatripto nirashrayah karmanyabhi pravrittopi naiva kinchit karoti saha. How do you find inaction in action? That is coming here. Karmani api pravrittaha. Karmani abhipravrittaha api, although I was engaged in the world of action. Second line. Karmani abhipravrittaha api naiva kinchit karoti saha. It looks as though he has done nothing. Now, when will it happen? That's a question now. It says, Tyaktva karma palas. Karma pala asanga. Asanga is connection. So, this connection between work and fruit, if you detach it, that's why I said people who work with fruits will get tired. People who don't work for fruits will never get tired, but they will become more energetic on the other hand. Because they see a larger purpose of what they are doing. Some better things in life will come only when you keep the palasanga a little bit away. So Tyaktva karma palasangam. If you give up this connection between karma and pala, 2 things will immediately happen to you. First thing that will happen is you will become a nitya tripta. You will ever be satisfied. This dissatisfaction comes only because I got myself into a mess. I got myself into a mess by thinking this is what I am going to get. Krishna said, Karmaneva adhikaraha mapaleshu kadachana. Yet, in our own ignorance, we said this, we thumb the desk and say, I put so much effort, I need it. I should get it. When it doesn't happen, disappointment. If you detach these two, the consequence is nitya tripta. That's why it comes immediately after that. He says, if you detach this karma and pala asanga and karma, then you will become a nitya tripta. And nirashaya, you will become a nirashaya. You know, nirashaya, you don't have to scratch anybody's back for anything now. You can be, aloof, independent, and do to the best of what you have to do. Nirashaya will happen only, so those two will happen only because of the first. So he says, if you do work like this, so he has given 3 rules now. Karma pala asanga, nitya tripta, nirashaya. If you do like this, even if you engage in work, it will be as though you have done nothing. This is what we are longing for. We are tired of doing work. A priest in a temple is tired of doing work because if he or she does not bring this attitude to that work, finished. And if a sweeper can bring this kind of an attitude, he will be of the highest order of evolution. That's how 63 9 marks came. It's not about what they do. It's about this part. That is the point I am making. So even it is not what you work, what kind of work you do. That in a society, depending upon what kind of skills I have, I may do something. Internally, how do you actually approach work? That determines the guna and the karma. That's what it is. So he says, karmanyabi pravrittopi naiva kinchit karoti saha. This is the first shloka. 3 ideas he has given here. 12 totally he has given in 4 shlokas. Nirashiryata chittatma tyakta sarva parigraha shariram kevalam karma urvan apnoti kilbisham. He says, you will not accumulate any evil effects of doing something. Right? How? Then he says, Kurvan na apnoti kilbisham. That's what he says. Na apnoti kilbisham. You will not get any of these bad effects of doing work. Again, when will you? So, shariram kevalam karma. You will just say, this body is there, I can do it, I keep doing. Many things will go out of you. Shariram kevalam karma kurvan. Your mental frame goes like that. This requires this kind of work. I am capable of doing. I have been ordained to do it. I have been, I have the mandate to do it. So therefore, I will do. There's a full stop. There is no comma after that. What will I get? Will people, thump my chest, pat my back, and say you have done a great job? Will I get the next promotion immediately next month because I did a great job? This is how we start destroying ourselves. Asking for recognition. There is in chapter 13, there are 20 values. Amanitvam, adambitvam, ahimsa, kshanti, rarchavam. It's called manitva. This idea is called manitva. I do something, I want conceit. I want people to recognize that I am a great person. This is how we destroy ourselves. Krishna says if we keep many of those out, life will be a lot more easier for you. And that will happen when if you do that, shariram kevalam karma kurvan na apnoti kilbisham. Nothing. The work will not affect us. You will revel, enjoy doing work, and that's it. You are very energetic. There's no tiredness. There is no feeling of ill will or any kind that will happen to you. And in order to do that, he says, nirashihi. You start putting, I want A, B, C, D. You already gotten into a problem. Please understand, putting the best foot forward is very different from saying, in fact, I am not at all saying don't set goals. As a professor of management, I will never say that. So they will first fire me from IIM if I say that. In any case, I am not saying that. What I mean is, setting goal, everybody must do. In every activity that we do, we must set goal. Who said we should not set goal? When I say nirashi, what it means is, don't think because you set goal that is going to happen. Put the best foot forward. Step 1, set goals. Step 2, put the best foot forward. There is no step 3. Step 3 is Bhagavan gives you some effect. Sometimes the effect is more than what you put. Sometimes the effect is pathetically nothing. You put genuine effort, nothing came to you. You will get wisdom out of it when you take that result also. That wisdom will not get, you will get the other category. Your ahankara only will go up. You put X effort, you got Y benefit, the ahankara will go up. You put Y effort, which is 5 times the benefit you got, you will become humble because you will start thinking what is happening. That's what is very important. So Nirashi is very important. Yata Chittatma, if you become Nirashi, if this Asha, this, I want this, I want that, if that goes out, immediately you will become a Yata Chittatma. Your Chitta and Atma will be under control. They are the ones by which it is slipping out. So this will immediately lead to that. Nirashihi Yata Chittatma and Tyakta Sarva Parigraha. You will truly develop a sense of detachment. Nothing is going to bother you anymore because you have become a Nirashi now. You cannot, life can only be better now. It cannot be any worse because there is no room for disappointment now. There is no room for disappointment. So life can only be better now. How can life be any worse? If only you said something and then there is a potential possibility of a disappointment. You say, no, I have taken all of them out. I will keep doing work. Then life can only become better. That's why the Tyakta Sarva Parigraha that will be practiced. So 3 more he gives here. Nirashihi Yata Chittatma Tyakta Sarva Parigraha. If you do like that, your bodily you will engage in activity. Nothing will affect you. Shariram kevalam karma kurvanna na apnoti kilbisham. So there's a second set of ideas that he gives. Then there's a third. Yadrichalabha santushtaha dvandvadito vimatsaraha samasiddhava siddhaucha kritva pinanibhadyate. Sir, I will tell you, working for a Nobel Prize, of course there's a lot of hard work they do. Nobel Prize is a too tall an example. Working for some reward, putting the best work, long years of work. God has been kind. You got the reward. You measure your happiness. Let that be X, some happiness. Getting a reward without any expectation will be 10 times of that. You call me today morning and tell me President of India award for you. I am not working through politicians to put my name into the list. I am giving an example like that. Suddenly somebody called you and said, you have been doing a great work. Somebody called you and said, you have done a great work. And the Rajyotsav award has been, that joy is limitless. It's called Yadricha Labha. If you can train our life for Yadricha Labha, the heart will feel like anything. That will be a joy which will remain with us for long. This manipulating, getting, influencing people, and tomorrow morning after 2 food and 2 sleep, it is over. Next misery will start. Next disappointment will start. Yadricha Labha is very, very high. If you can train our mind that don't ask for anything comes, so you can only be surprised, you can never be disappointed in life. That is the meaning. Yadricha Labha means what? You can only be surprised in life, you can never be disappointed in life. That is the meaning of this particular Yadricha Labha. You work, reward came, that joy is limitless. You work for reward, you work with tension first. Because you don't know whether reward is going to come or not. These are all not worth it. Krishna says, what is it? Why are we all get stuck like this? There is a joy of, so in these 4 slokas, he tells, how do you get joy out of work? That's what he is getting to. How do you discover true joy in your work, which is missing for all of us today? Because we have a different framework. So he says, Yadricha Labha Santushtaha. The moment you say, I am a Yadricha Labha Santushtaha, then this world of duality is gone. Success and failure are not there because you are not measuring anything now. What comes is only a surprise for you. So Dvandva Adita. You have crossed the world of duality. What is the world of duality? Good, bad, happy, sad. I like, I don't like. This is okay, this is not okay. This is hot, this is cold. This is positive, this is negative. There's a dictionary of Dvandva we can write. He says you will cross that in one shot because you have become a Yadricha Labha Santushtaka. So Dvandva Adita. Vimatsara will go. I am not going to worry that you got a reward and I did not get this. Vimatsara will all go. The envy will go completely. These are all negative energy which we unwittingly, knowingly, unknowingly spend and accumulate karma. All these will accumulate karma. That is the meaning. All these unwittingly. We don't want to do it knowingly. Unwittingly, we get into all these problems. And the bag becomes bigger and bigger. At the end of the Janma, I am worried. What is happening? So, Vimatsara. And Samaha. What? Siddho, Asiddho cha. Success and failure are equal to me now because I am Edricha Lava Santushta now. Anything is fine. So, Siddha and Asiddha. Achieve, not achieve. Both are okay. That's fine. That Manobhava will come. In every shloka, the first one is important. First one will trigger all. Look at the trend. The first one triggers all others. Moment you say, I will become Edricha Lava Santushta, all of them will fall in place now. They are all related to that in some ways. So he says, Sama Siddho Asiddho cha Kritvapi na nibaddhite. The work does not tie me. In other words, by doing that work, tie means what? Sanchita karma is increasing. That is how we are tied. How are we tied? We are tied with Sanchita karma. As more and more janmas and all that will happen. Now with that, you are now taking your hands off. So, Kritvapi na nibadhyate. It does not bind you. What is moksha? Moksha is a situation where you are not bound. That is called moksha. That's what he says. Kritvapi na nibadhyate. This is the third. Another 3-4 ideas are here. Then one more shloka. Oh, all the 12 are come. So now I have now put it in very nice structure so that we understand how they are all connected to one another. First of all, he said, Jnana Agni Dagdha. Did we see the shloka or not? I think we have missed the shloka. Oh, this shloka we have missed. That's why there are only 3 shlokas we saw. I think I must have clicked it twice, I think. Huh? Only 9. First shloka, he says, Yasya sarve samarambha kama sankalpa varjita jnanagni dagda karmanam tamahu pandidam buddha. Tam, that person, ahuhu, people call Pandidam Buddha, they call him as Pandit. Panda. Panda is one who is very old, who is in the verge of liberation. The pandas that we see in temples are different. They are not the pandas that we are talking about. This panda is one who is one step before his liberation. He is a old soul. Buddha are those who have good buddhi. Wise people call this person as a panda. Which person? That person is written in the remaining part of the shloka. A person who behaves in a particular way, tam ahuhu panditam buddhaha. Wise people call him as real panda. That person. Which person? That is in the first line. Yasya sarve samarambha. Any action he takes in this world, any action he engages in this world, kama sankalpa varjita. This is the two which actually kills us. Even before we start, as though everything is under our control, the whole world is under our control, we have a sankalpa and a kama. I will do this, I will get this. This is what happens. You know, I keep seeing this, I keep giving this example very often. I've been seeing for several years the first rank, state first, CAT first, you know, the CA first rank, IAS topper. None of them say it was the grace of the Lord. None of them. Because I have a simple question. They did a hard work. I am not discounting any of those. I am not at all discounting any of those. But I am making a very important point. That important point is in chapter 18, he said, Adhishtanam tata karma vividha pratak cheshtaha daivam cha atra panchamam. He said, 5 things are required for getting what you want in life, in which the last item is said daivam cha atra panchamam. My question is simple. This IAS topper, he or she, on the day she or he is just leaving her home for writing the exam, she got into big dysentery. It's called Adi Bhautikam. I'm giving an example. Adi Daivakam, Adhyatmikam, Adi Bhautikam. There are 3. or there was a big flood or cloud burst. Cloud burst in just that 5 square kilometers. Nobody will redo the exam for that. Just because 20 people could not reach the venue, right? Nobody will redo it. The first exam is called Adhyatmikam. Second exam is called Adi Bhautikam. Big rain, cloud burst. I don't know why people are not thinking about it. Point is Kama and Sankalpa and all, we should keep with the understanding Daivamcha Atra Panchama. We should target, we should all that. But when Krishna says Kama Sankalpa Varjitaha, what that means is, you set all your target, but be wise enough to know that you do. Let us see what happens. You do. Let us see what happens at the end of the day. Because that is reality. That is reality. The reality cannot be anything else. If it has to happen, it will happen today. If it has not to happen, it will not happen at all. There are situations where a person cannot survive after an accident, that person survives. There are situations where the person will never, we thought he will never collapse after the accident, he or she collapsed. 1,000 examples are there. What are all these pointing to us? These are pointing to us that Kama Sankalpa, up to a point only you should keep. When Krishna says Kama Sankalpa Varjitaha, which means such people know. I mean, I have all these targets, but I know what will happen. Daivamcha Atra Panchama. And when will they do it? They will do it only when they are Jnanagni Dattaha. They are not burnt actually, they are actually purified by the knowledge, by pure knowledge. That knowledge will only make him like that. The person who is Jnanagni Dattaha will become Kama Sankalpa Varjitaha. He has understood life. He has understood what it means. You should not unnecessarily do all these. That is the Jnanagni. Jnanagni Dattaha Karmanam. The person who is doing work with the spirit of Jnanagni, he will be Kama Sankalpa Varjitaha. All his agency, all his activities that he does in this world will all be like this. Therefore, he will be Tamahuhu Panditam Buddha. This is what Krishna said. I missed this particular shloka. So I will just put these three in a category and leave it. Tomorrow we will continue with that. So I will put it in a category so that we will. So all these are related to one another. If you take Jnana Agni Daddha, if somebody is of that, the grace of the Lord befell on him or her, he got this little bit of this Jnana Agni. That person will do all this. He will understand Kama Sankalpa Varjanam is very important. Don't waste too much your time having too much of Kama and Sankalpa. He will understand. He or she will understand. Because of that, Karma Pala Asanga will go. His connection will get severed now. Fruit of action and action will slowly move a little bit. And because of that, he will become Nitya Tripta. Because the disappointments that are coming from the item number 2 and 3. Item number 2 and 3 only will make you eternally dissatisfied. If item number 2 and 3 are taken care, you will be eternally satisfied. Nitya Tripta and Nirashraya. Because I don't have to depend on anything. I depend on Lord now. Because whatever he gives is prasada for me. So I depend on the Lord. Everything is fine. So all these comes from Jnanagni Dattaha. Then, Yata Chittatma. Moment you are able to control your mind and your body, right? All these will happen. You will become Nirashi. Tekta Sarva. All these are mental and mental process. All these are mental process actually. Tekta Sarva Parigraha. He will give up. He doesn't unnecessarily get attached too much to things. Tekta Sarva Parigraha. Yadricha Labha Santushtaha. He will say the joy of what I get without any expectation is far superior. Yadricha Labha Santushtaha. Bimasaraha, this Matsarya will not be there. Why am I? Because I am not going to compare with you anymore. This reference plane is gone now. So I am not going to compare with any one of you. So that will also happen. So Yata Chittatma will do all these body and mind activities will all be controlled. Krishna says, do that. This is the next 5. If you become Dvandvadita, then Siddha and Asiddha are same for you. Because you have transcended the world of duality. Moment you have transcended the world of duality, then this success, failure are all only vocabulary. It is not going to map into your mind and create a problem for you. So Krishna gave 12 simple to do. He say, if you practice like this, kim karma, kim akarma, kim vikarma and all, don't worry. If you can approach your life with these principles, 12 principles, two things he says. You will have joy of work, which we are missing. We are missing joy of work. Work must be very joyful. That is the pinnacle of karma yoga. So work will be joyful. Our guna will completely transform. The samskaras will keep changing. So the guna will change. Our varnas will also change. In the world, we will do what needs to be done, the job that is depending upon skill, but our varna will change. We will evolve, our atma vikasa will happen. So that is what he is talking about. So all these are beautifully found here. Tomorrow I will again take these 12. I'll show you specific examples. Don't think these are all fancy ideas. I want to give one example for each of these to say it is happening all around us all the time. Otherwise, we will not build this Vishwasa in us. So tomorrow I will take these 12. For each one of them, I will show one example. I am sure you all will connect yourself to that example, which we will do tomorrow. We'll stop here. I think there is a couple of questions. I will take it tomorrow. It's already 2017. We will stop here. We'll continue. Om Sahana Bhavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Sahareyan Karavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma Vidvishapahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Guru Pyo Namaha. Harihi Om. Shubharatri.
Just ask them to go through this, what you have covered. What Professor covered today is the most important part of the entire chapter 4. If you have understood